Positive news, Melbourne. Yes, Melbourne in lockdown. Penal colony. I say to people, keep on drinking the fluoride. There's 99 point, oh what, 5%, maybe more, maybe less, or nothing more than the Walking Dead. Remember, we don't call them sheep anymore because sheep are a very nice animal, quite friendly. In fact, you can have pet sheep and pet lambs. But anyway, just like us, they get fleeced as well, called tax. Just look at a quick shot of fluoride and then freeze frame it so you can read it, because I try to keep these as short as possible because I don't want to bore you, and I'm certainly will be boring myself if I was watching it. So just like a quick look at this fluoride thing. Have a look at this, read it, freeze screen, and have a look and read it, because it's fact. It may have some fictional aspects, but I don't know, but this is what I believe. Let's look at this document that started all this hullabaloo. A document from the Chief Health Officer. Now, this started it all off, and it's marvelous how Daniel Andrews, in my opinion, and lots of opinion, and is a criminal, because anybody who's hiding the fact that Queen Elizabeth has been removed, that they are a private corporation, concealing the fact that they are a private corporation, and that applies to all other of the corporations, is criminal, because they're cabal. So look at this document that started all this BS off. It could be seen on reasonable grounds written by a 5-year-old child. The grammar is not only bad, it's pathetic. It has no legal, it has no lawful standing whatsoever. So let's go and have a look at that right now. Now let's have a look at this directions from the Chief Health Officer. This guy, they made him a professor. It's called an ad hoc title. You don't have to be very bright to get an ad hoc title, because really, if you were a professor, you'd have some knowledge. But let's look at this document that they're actually closing states down on, right? Okay, it looks like a normal doctor. Let's look at the wording. Now, grammar is very important, and a school teacher went to court for a criminal, and they told the judge the grammar, he wasn't guilty of anything. The grammar just cleared him, and it did, and the judge let the case go. Now look at the words up here, directions from the Chief Health Officer in accordance with the emergency powers arising from the cleared state of emergency. Frightening stuff. Absolutely scary stuff, and we should be scared by it as well. But let's look and see why we should not be scared of it, because it's written by a 5-year-old child. Direction starts off. Directions is a pronoun. A pronoun is a no-no. It's absolute. It has no fact. It stands alone. It's a no contract word. From is an adverb, and that changes the next word. It's a modifier. Chief Health Officer. Oh my! Are we talking about the chief of the Indian tribes in the USA or Canada? Chief is an adjective, a modifier, a fraud, a no contract coloring fact. It has no meaning. So there we are. We have a pronoun. Only one word means something. And in here we got the Chief Health, which is all coloring, fading, facting, rubbish. In accordance. Oh, wow, this is very, very important. In, of course, is an adverb, right? So look, accordance, it starts with a vowel, ACC. It means no contract. With, that's an adverb. So it's going to change the next word, emergency. And of course, we have a vowel starting off here. Emergency is another adjective or adjunctive. Preferred. I'm Irish. I can't say some of these words pretty well, but never mind. I know the meaning. Again, we're a modifier, fraud, and the coloring off, like the color of law. So, and then we move on to the word powers. Now, the word power, are we talking about 2-phase, 3-phase, electrical power, AC, DC power? So power, again, is another word that's a 3, which makes it an adjective. Again, an adjunctive, adjective, whichever you want to call it. It's again, it's coloring. It has several meanings. It has no real meaning. So it could be anything. And then we have the word, another vowel starting here, arising from. Well, arising, what's this? Military rising, another junk word. from declared state of emergency. Well, here we go again. Declared from was okay. That's okay. That's an adverb, and it's a future adverb, so it's going to change. But then we have DEC, which means no contract. State. What's this? A state of shock? A state of the mind? A state of emergency? So it's a pronoun. It means nothing. It's just absolute junk. Off. Well, that's an adverb. And then we go to emergency. Again, vowel, no contract. And it goes on and on and on. This document was written by a 4 or 5-year-old child when it comes to the English language. Okay, let's move down a little bit. We'll go to the purpose. The purpose, that's a modifier, so that's an adverb, and it's P-U-R-P is again. Now, how many things can you apply purpose to? That's an adjective again. It's another broad, a modifier. No contract, coloring, misleading, right? Of these directions, again, no contract. The whole thing is absolutely nonsensical. It makes no common sense in language at all, and it has no lawful meaning, no legal meaning. And if you look down here, get out of debt for free.org parking notice. If you go to that address, you will find this. It'll have the pound on it there, or the euro. Now I'm going to put up a few templates which are pretty short and pretty to the point. I suggest you freeze the screen and take a photograph of it so you can copy it down, because otherwise this thing will run out of proportion and everybody will just keep up watching. At the end of the videos, I put down an email address if you want to get an ID. By now you should have, because when you produce an identification, you produce a driving license, you're contracting. And if you want a contract, you do it in your terms. Now, a quick look at that. You can actually say, the police, don't be rude. Just keep it calm. Because anyway, you know that shouting, roaring, refusing to cooperate is contract. Just say okay, if we're going to contract as a person, I'm a corporation, you're a private corporation too. So corporations were set up purposely to make money. So I will invoice you, and you, being the man in your private capacity, for my time. And I think that's pretty fair, constable or sergeant, whatever the case may be. And you have the details, because all police will give you their name, and they don't have to give you the number. Sometimes they're embarrassed by it. I go back to the days of the 17, and now they're up in China, as we used to say, Chinaman's numbers, right? Way up. They will give you the station, so you can actually correspond with them through that station, and the details will be passed on, and you can bill them for your time, because that's fair enough as well. And the same applies to the courts. So I'll put a few of these documents together, and when you write to send a bill to the court, you write as the principal for that deceased estate, which is the surname, and you'll send them a bill for $250 for an hour, or $250 to turn up to the court per hour, whatever you want, because it's you're the corporation. You can make that decision. Don't start $10,000 or $1 million and a pot of gold. Just keep it realistic, and that your contract with the police person, because if they're an officer, they're not police. They're a private corporation. As officer means CEO, chief executive officer. If it's a policeman you're dealing with and a policewoman, well, there's not many of them left. But now, if those guys were to uphold the law and go and arrest these politicians, these criminals, they would be heroes, because nobody can stop them. Because as constables, they have all the right in the world to do it. And by God, would the people support them? Oh yes, they bet they would. But anyway, it won't happen, because everybody is worried about losing their pension, and breaking the law doesn't really matter anymore, because there is no law. Except, yes, common law, it's there, it's in the background, and it will rear its head and take care of business, as it has done, because of 17 of these criminals in Australia have been indicted by an international grand jury, and that stands. It doesn't mean they're convicted, but one case at a time will come up. Anyway, have a look at the documents. and then make your own decision, write them down and see whether you want to do it or not. The rental provider, what once was called the landlord. The landlord was this, the landlord owned the property that paid the rent to the landlord via the rental provider, the real estate company. A rental provider, you're not even called a landowner anymore, a landlord, because there is no ownership. Courts, yes, they're private companies, but you have to deal with them. You can't ignore it. They send you a document out to reply to, and you don't, well, it stands, and they can issue a warrant and so on and so forth. So you can, if you want to place some documents back in the court, so you're due to attend court next week, next month, you can do it like this. Now you can freeze frame this and try and write it down. It's very simple. For the clerk of the court, the duty of filing this document in the correct jurisdiction. Well, jurisdiction, that could be any jurisdiction. They can make it up. Doesn't really matter. For the claim of knowledge, you put it in here. You're given names only, and with the knowledge of fact, charter vessel law, and so on. Just look. Just try and print this. At the top here, you look. Put a stamp on, and make sure the stamp is like over $1. And that becomes under the bill of landing. So that document, it's like tampering with the post. So the clerk of the court can't tamper with the post. It has to be delivered and it has to be recorded, right? In court. Now, you will attend court as the principal for the deceased estate with the claim of knowledge of wrongdoing in the case of denial of human rights and so on. Read it yourself there, claims of language. Then you autograph it. You never sign anything as the principal for the deceased estate. This is a pretty good one. A notice of mistake addressed to the clerk of the court in your private capacity. Always try and find out who the registrar is or the clerk of the court. Just drop, you'll get the names. Pretend you're doing a thing for your kid at school, if they ever go back to school, and then get the details right in there, right? And just freeze frame this, take a photograph of it, and then you can write it out yourself. Read up the Latin's meanings. It's all on. Look, you just got to do a bit of research, guys. You've got to rely on yourselves. Bill Turner, New Zealand. Just type that in. Bill will help you with all this stuff. I think this is one of Bill's. I'm not too sure. Take notes of the matter. Read it. Forgive me in order. Yeah. All goes down again, responding to you. And then the bottom here, de facto. De facto means if that's the surname they've addressed to the top. De jure is Michael John, the given names, or Mary Joan, whatever the case may be. Just take photographs of this when it's on the screen, save it, and then look up the meanings of the word. I can't do everything. Landlords. That word is no longer in vogue. Right? Landlord has been removed to rental provider. They have removed the word land out of every title as they possibly can, because if you look at that little piece of paperwork I put up, you'll see that they've changed it. So the council now, because there's no local government, you'll still hear the word bandied around, and they have these criminal politicians still use the Local Government Act, an act, something that takes place on the stage. It only applies to the living dead. Yes, the people dressed up, walking to supermarkets out there, 99.5 or 6%, all dress up as if they're on the way to Mars for a weekend, you know, all cowering and won't look at you anymore because everybody is walking like scared little rabbits, all scared they might die of something. Let's say a common cold. We won't mention anything else. It may be something else, you know. But we're all going to bloody die. So, you know, stop being cowards. Now, a girl in England said, at a demonstration in England, she said, "Where have all the men gone?" Well, all the men now are big girls, totally demoralized, walking around. It's so sickening to see soldiers walking around wearing face dress, all ready to go overseas or something, or rob a bank. I mean, one time as kids, anybody wearing a mask, and the cowboys were robbers and thieves. Well, has anything changed? Perhaps the scenery. But this carry on is you know, it's gone past the stage now, and it's well and truly that the people like that clown over there and who advised everybody in America, Fauci, or some kind of a shoe name or something. Well, looks like he's going to be heading to court one day. So not much point asking anybody to wake up because, the fluoride is working. Keep on drinking it and, But that priest was on Facebook recently. He knows of 7 people personally who have committed suicide. And by these people obeying these unlawful laws, which are not laws, all these pretend regulations created by an idiotic document and an unelected man who's appointed as a sheriff. Yeah, well, yeah, if only appointed as the chief health officer, which we know is a load of rubbish. And he's just an ad hoc title. He's now running the state, and the other clowns like Andrews will come along and say, I didn't, Andrew, it was the chief health officer told me to do it. I didn't do it. And then they bring in a transport manager and make him a commander. I mean, really, how stupid are we to believe it? As a 90% do. And they make a commander, and this commander is making medical decisions because the Andrews and all the other politicians, ScoMo them all, they're all going to go and say, oh no, it wasn't me. The health officer told us. We didn't know. We're just laymen. We didn't know. But, we're not going to live forever. His time will come. They'll pass by and they'll be just forgotten rats who destroy the population of people. And it's the people's fault. There's all these people queuing up, probably feeling quite well, going to get tested for something they may never get. We have a God-given immune system. Thank God for that. I'm 75. I'm very lucky, and I thank God. If any wood here to touch apart from my head, I'd say I've had the flu in 50 years, and I think, well, let's face it, herbal medicine. But now, getting back to property, this is very important. If you could convey this message, which is not going to be easy, to people that think they own their property. Now, when I say property, it's basically land. You could own the house on the land. A very good example is somebody in a caravan park who spent $90,000 or $200,000 putting on a mobile home, and some of these are really, really beautiful inside. I've seen them, but they don't own the land on which it's placed. And if the owner of the land wants, the caravan park manager or owner wants to sell that land, he can sell it out from under you, and he may sell it to a developer. So here you are, you've got a beautiful home which no longer has any place to go. And the same thing applies to your house on your land. You don't own it. When the Queen got chucked out by the rotten Labour Party, Hawke, Whitlam, those crooks destroyed this country. When the Queen went by the Act of 1986, and it's all there to be Googled, but people are too flippin' lazy. You don't own your property, and it will be sold out from under you at the drop of a hat, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, there's heaps of cases where people got behind with the rates because their wife or husband died, and they found their property up for sale because each of the parties were paying the rent or the rates, which are a tax. Keep on paying it, otherwise you'll be kicked out. It's look, unless the Walking Dead wake up, as we all say, turn around and say enough is enough, because politicians were public servants one time. They worked for the people. They got voted in and voted out, but that doesn't count anymore. You may think it does, but now it's postal voting. Hence, we have a reason, a pandemic to stop people physically voting. Started in America, and they take advantage of it here because we're owned. Each of these states are private corporations. The federal government is a private corporation. The Liberals, the Democrats, the Labour, they're all owned and controlled. And the Liberals, that's why in the States, don't come up and fight, because they know that they're breaking the law themselves. So they've learned the lesson. People in glass houses do not throw stones. The Democrats in America have destroyed the USA and continue to do it. And there's only one man who tried to stop that, but, look at him. Now there's rumors he's coming back. If he doesn't, I'm wasting my time again because we're stuffed. Anyway, London News signing off. The common law court is still progressing. We need physical people, and we need venues here in Melbourne. Anybody who knows of a venue where we can hold a court case, it's very, 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 very hard to find places. And there's lots of places, just I personally and around know them. So help us out. We've got a couple of great people trying to help. We need to put deputy sheriffs on, which we've got to have experience here in Melbourne. And all the people in other states, we will help you at some stage to get going, but we need people that we can rely on, because the common law court is owned and run and controlled by the UK. And the reason we do that, because they've got 4 years standing and they've had some success. Now, success, that sounds pretty rude, doesn't it? Anyway, we've got to stick by the rules. We cannot recreate the wheel because we're Australian or anything else. We have to keep it simple. Anyway, London News, sign off, subscribe, and thanks to those people who put a few dollars in the kitty. We need more bits and pieces. In fact, we need a lot. We really appreciate it. And if you haven't got an ID, the information's at the back of the screen where to get them. And let's wake up the walking dead, and I wish you the best of luck. If we could only find a couple of dozen, a half a dozen real policemen and policewomen, regardless of rank, to arrest these criminal politicians, this would end within one day. Bye for now.